The Mid-America Veterans Museum is a 501c3 nonprofit business. The museum would not exist without the donations of our generous community. Your donations ensure the museum continues to share and preserve the stories of our veterans. To donate, visit mavm.org and click on Donate. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only. The primary purpose of the Operation Insight podcast is to educate. The views, information, or opinions expressed on the Operation Insight podcast are solely the views of the individuals or guests involved and by no means represent absolute facts. Operation Insight does not accept responsibility for their views or comments. The Operation Insight podcast may at times cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to suicide, abuse, violence, severe mental illness, sex, drugs, and alcohol addiction. You are advised to refrain from watching or listening to the Operation Insight podcast if you are likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. Neither the company, host, director, or the guest shall at any time be liable for the content covered, causing offense, distress, or any other reaction. Welcome to the Operation Insight podcast from the Mid-America Veterans Museum with your host, Jason Galvin, and co-host, Sergeant Ethan Gross.
Hello.
Hi, Rusty. It's Ethan.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Are you doing the calls now?
Well, yeah, we're going to start. It's your time to shine.
Oh. Okay. Wake up time. Okay.
Well, hey, Rusty, a few things I wanted to do before we get into your life and your service. I wanted to give our audience an education in terms of the what was formerly known as the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps. That was founded in 1942, May of 1942, by Chief of Staff General George Marshall. But then it was changed to the Women's Army Corps in July of 43, so in the dead heat of World War II.
I know.
Yeah.
But you do know that they had all those women pilots that never got any credit for doing anything during the procedures, but they would deliver those big airplanes, bombers and everything, overseas to Britain for our troops to use, you know,
wow.
or wherever they were needed.
Yeah. That's a story I hadn't heard before. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't hear that either.
Oh, really?
I didn't
Well,
know
that's
that.
the truth. I knew one of the gals.
Yeah.
She was. We were in a club of flying people, you know, and Uncle Eddie was nutty about airplanes.
I was going to say that came from Eddie. Probably he loved piloting.
Yeah, but the women pilots, they really did an exemplary job, and they finally got recognized. But it was much after the war was over.
Well, I was going to.
Whatever.
I mean, you're going to be.
Do you want me to continue on here? Or do you want me to shut up? And
I definitely don't want you to shut up, Rusty. No, I don't want that. What I was going to say and honestly, I educated myself in terms of what it meant to be in the WAC. So before,
I've forgotten some of it myself.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to get some of those memories back today.
Yeah.
But before they went to just Women Army Corps in 43, and you're going to know this better than me, Rusty, but as an auxiliary corps, they didn't have any of the same types of rights that active duty service members had. The director.
Oh my gosh, the differential between when I went in and what they have now, it's incredible. They have the ability to fire machine guns, you know.
Sure, combat arms roles, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know whether I would really have liked that or not. I don't know.
Well, so
but it was a shock to see. I get a magazine from one of the organizations that has formed in Washington, D.C., and I've yet to join them. But they send pictures of the girls and what they did in the service, and it was nothing like what we had really. So it was amazing. So I'll shut up now and you can go forward.
No, I was going to say, Rusty, take me back to November 1950. You go in as an E1, a private. Take me back to when, and I got to be honest with you, Rusty, I didn't know your name was Dorothy Mae Jackson.
That's exactly.
Dorothy Mae Jackson Marlen.
That's who I am, but nobody in this town knows me as Dorothy or Mae. They all call me Rusty.
It's always been Rusty.
Yeah, I got that name when I was in high school because I had red hair. My sister did too. So.
Yeah, she's got a beautiful shock of red hair. Okay, so Rusty, take me back to November 1950. You enter as a private into the Women Army Corps.
I had joined the service at the time, mostly because they had posters all over the stores and things for Uncle Sam Needs You and I Love My Country.
Are you a girl with a Star-Spangled Heart? Do you remember that one?
That's it. That sounds beautiful.
Thank you. Well, I didn't make it up.
Anyway, that was something I really wanted to do. And so another girl joined with me. I don't think she did well. I never saw her after we got there.
You joined.
Never even heard from her.
Wow. So you were born in Salida, Colorado, but you grew up in Pueblo, is that right?
Pueblo.
Okay, just south of Fort Carson, Colorado Springs.
Yeah, right.
Did that have an influence on you, being near a military base?
Just the fact that they were pleading, actually, for the young women to join so that they could relieve the men who were doing desk work.
Yeah.
And that was what our thing was going to be.
Sure.
However, none of that, I don't believe, actually happened to me. I joined the Army. I went from Pueblo on the train to Virginia.
Fort Lee,
Virginia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Was that your first time out of Colorado when you did that?
Oh, no, honey. I lived in California during the war in Hollywood.
Did you do your basic training at Fort Lee? Is that where that took place?
Yes, that was our basic training. I do not know where they do it now. I haven't kept up with it all.
Which branch of the Army did you go to? Which field were you in?
When I signed up to get into the medical field.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I never saw anybody, but maybe a doctor now and then.
Yeah.
But I went to first I went to basic training, and then I went to school.
Did you go to Sam Houston? Fort Sam Houston?
The school, yes.
Okay, down in Texas.
I went down there, and then I was sent up to Chicago. I can't remember the name of the place in Chicago.
Well, are you
thinking of much of a training center? And then they sent me to.
I wonder if you're thinking of Camp McCoy in Wisconsin. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, that's the next place I got to. Was Camp McCoy after the Chicago thing. Fort Sheridan is where I was in Chicago.
Oh, okay, Fort Sheridan, yeah.
I don't even know that
I think that's just north of
anymore.
Chicago.
Well, they were moving you all over creation, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they sent me to Wisconsin.
Yes.
Camp McCoy, Wisconsin.
Yep.
And then I ran into one of my basic training lieutenants, and she said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I really am not sure."
They told me to go, that's why.
I didn't know. You know, we'd get up in the morning and go to the office, and just kind of nothing was going on the way that I had assumed that it would.
Well, okay.
So subsequently,
she
said, "Oh, I'm going to get you out of here." And so she got me into, and that was my second year in.
Well, tell us.
She got me into.
You just mentioned that that's not the way you expected it to go. So that's.
I thought I was going to go to, medical training. I wanted to be an X-ray technician. he promised me that I was going to get that, and it didn't happen.
Uncle Sam lied.
What a surprise.
No. Yeah. But what did I know at that particular time? But, when I have to tell, we first went to Fort Lee, Virginia.
Sure.
We were all dressed up. And then we had to crawl into the back of a truck. And, we were handled not really very nicely, but we didn't know what to expect. And so we had high heels and suits and everything dressed up to get in there, and everybody else was in their fatigues. The girls that were.
So you were in your civilian clothes upon arrival. I just want to make sure I understand, right?
Oh yes,
okay.
That's what we did.
Sure,
but they were kind of dressy.
Well, yeah, very different time back then. Yeah,
and it was not. They were not meant, those clothes, for the back end of a truck.
No. Nowadays when kids go to basic training, they're in sweatpants, t-shirts. But in the 50s, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Rusty, but heck, going on a flight, you dressed up for that occasion. It's just a lot more formal wear in those days.
Oh, yeah. Then the way they dress now in their pajamas, for goodness sake. The world has changed considerably.
So tell me how Eddie plays into all of this. When did you and Eddie get married?
We got married about 3 or 4 weeks after we met.
And was that
wasn't a very long time at all.
Did you guys meet before you became a WAC, or was that after?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, I had a recruit. I had one recruit, and I had taken her out to dinner because she's the only recruit I had the entire time I was there. Nobody could pass the test. So subsequently, I was out with her, and in walked Eddie, and he had a box of donuts in a bar. Come on. That was unheard of. I'd never seen that before. But anyway, and he sat down at our table, and she and he drove out to the name of the Air Force Base. What is it there in
Scott Air Force Base?
In the Dupo area. It was a big training base there.
Well,
it was an Air Force training base.
Are you thinking of Scott Air Force Base, Rusty?
That's it.
Okay, Scott Air Force Base. Yep.
Yeah.
Was he a contractor there? Was he working as a contractor?
No, he wasn't at that time. He was working for McDonnell Aircraft, I believe,
gotcha.
At the time. But he came over and sat down, and he kept trying to tell her not to go because he wasn't for women in the service. There you go. So I was about ready to clobber him on the top of the head. He was my one and only. And but anyway, he drove her to Air Force Base there.
Yeah.
And so that she could get a fly into San Antonio.
Oh, so he helped you out with that recruit?
Yes, he did.
How about that? He redeemed himself.
He was. I think we went together for about 3 weeks or 4 weeks at the max, and got married. And he had the 2 sons.
Yeah. Yep. Jim and Roger.
And
So Eddie, he also served. He served August 1944.
Oh, he was in the Navy.
Yeah, Navy
in 1942
Reserve.
Or 44. He was in.
Yep, 44 to 46. And I have to.
I don't know much about what he was doing. I know he was very interested in flying, and then he got scarlet fever or something, and that affected his eyesight. So he was quite disappointed, I think.
Yeah, I bet.
So maybe that's why I didn't hear about it so much. But he was in Pensacola, Florida.
And Jacksonville, right?
Or Jacksonville,
yeah.
Pensacola.
Both of those.
I haven't been to either one of them.
Well, I have to give credit where credit is due, Rusty. So your daughter, Cindy Gasper, she helped me a lot with understanding your service, and she sent me your DD-214, and then also.
Oh, she did.
She did, yeah. It was very kind of her. And then also Ryan, Eddie's grandson, Ryan Marlen. So he sent me.
They have a lot more information.
Well, no, you have a wealth of information as well.
It's your experience, so you have the information.
But I wanted to give my relatives a shout out for helping me prepare for the interview, Rusty. I mean, nothing can really prepare me for a Rusty encounter, but I'm doing the best I can.
I knew the world wasn't ready for Rusty, but I made it, and it was. I'm very proud that I did. The leadership school that I went to, I thought maybe I was going to be cadre. Well, I was cadre there for about a year. Mm-hmm. I had a platoon. I was an assistant, and then I got my own platoon, and I had that for about 6 months, I guess it was. And then they shipped me off to Fort Sam Houston, Texas, for some reason or other. They have my records got lost when you had a big fire apparently down in St. Louis, mm-hmm. and all my records were lost.
Oh boy, I remember that. I remember hearing about that.
Who knew that? At the time.
Right.
So remind me, Rusty, how was it that you ended up being stationed in East St. Louis? How did that come about?
Well, I'm probably going to confuse you, but when I was in Wisconsin, mm-hmm. I ran into my basic training officer, and she said, to me, "What are you doing here?"
Sure.
And I really don't know. I was going to have some type of medical training, I assumed.
Yeah.
And nobody said anything about anything like that. So the next thing I know, she said, "I'm going to get you out of here," and she got me into recruiting duty.
I see.
Oh, okay.
And I went to recruiting school in Indianapolis, never dreaming at that time that I would be living in Indianapolis for 60 years. That's how that happened.
Yeah.
And my duty with my recruiting was right in East St. Louis, down on the main street. I can't even remember the name of the street. Probably Main Street, I don't know. But it was up above a bar.
Good place to recruit.
So had it not been for that lieutenant from your basic training seeing you and suggesting you go somewhere else,
God knows where I would have ended up.
And you would have met Eddie.
I kept waiting to go to that school to become an X-ray technician.
Uh-huh.
And that never happened.
So tell us.
But anyway,
Rusty.
I beg your pardon?
What I want to hear about is, I want to hear about the sense that you had. Was it a sense of pride? Was it a sense of duty? Was it a sense of obligation?
A sense of duty, a pride. I am truly a very strong-willed woman. Mm-hmm. And my parents did not object to me going in. My dad was glad because he wanted a boy probably at some point in time. Didn't get the boy, and so there I was, So he didn't object to it.
Yeah.
My mother was terrified that I was going in, but everything worked out fine. But
did you have a history of military in your family?
I beg your pardon?
Did you have a military family history?
No. Well, I did in a way. My father's brothers were all in World War One. They had just moved to America, and they were in the Illinois Brigade or whatever it was when they served overseas.
Where did you said they immigrated?
They were from Scotland.
Scotland, okay.
Oh, okay.
And
that's where my father was from, and he was only 15 when he came across the ocean.
Yeah.
With all the properties of his mother.
Yeah.
And his father, and he had younger brothers and sisters that he took care of, but he had 7 brothers.
And so, did your father
so
immigrate?
His brother was in World War II. His one brother was.
Okay.
And he was in the fire department because he was the chief of the fire department when he got out of the service.
Yeah.
I know he was in Pueblo, Colorado.
Yeah.
It was a large city. It had a steel mills, sort of like Granite City.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, so tell us about. I didn't actually know that, Rusty. That's complete news to me that you were a recruiter. So tell us about that experience of being a recruiter in St. Louis metro area.
when I got on recruiting duty, it was my job to kind of usher people around that came to visit us. Like I had General MacArthur's doctor. Are you still there?
Oh yeah, we're still here. We're fully engaged. Believe me.
Somebody's been trying to call me, but they're still beeping. I don't know what in the world that is.
Well, they can wait.
But never mind about that. But yeah. But anyway, it was MacArthur's doctor, and he was a very lovely person,
Mm-hmm.
and he was all for the women, having a better situation
Sure.
than we had at that time. And obviously they went wherever they took their basic after that. I'd heard of a couple of places down in the South. Fort Lee, Virginia was where I was most of the time. And when I went to Chicago.
I could be wrong, but I think now Fort Lee is the quartermaster's school is located at Fort Lee.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it's the quartermaster's.
A fort anymore. I bet it must be something else.
Oh, there's still Fort Lee. It's there, same place in Virginia. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, it's right in Petersburg, and that's where they had the big war in the Civil War.
Sure. Yeah.
It was one of the big fights that they had at that time.
Yeah.
But that's my first trip to Virginia, and I was very impressed with it.
Fort Lee was where you did your leadership course, which I think is what they must have called basic.
I was
then.
out on, we'd go out and bivouac, and we learned how to hold the gun and shoot the gun,
Were you pretty proficient with a rifle, Rusty?
Not necessarily. I guess I did fine.
Uh-huh.
But one of the girls that was there with us, she went up to the captain, and she had the guns right on the captain, facing the captain. And oh my God, I thought they were going to fall apart, because he would have thought she was going to try to kill the captain.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
That was alarming.
Yeah, I bet.
But basic training, they didn't teach us much of anything about the goings on of the war, should I say. Because, they did I got the duty of, this is just one thing that I did.
Mm-hmm.
I was out there on bivouac at night in the dark with no lights, no anything, guarding a bridge. And the men we didn't know at the time were on bivouac, and they did not know that we were on bivouac at the time.
Oh, man.
So I'm walking across this bridge back and forth, and didn't have a gun, didn't have anything at all, except I kept my eyes open to see. I didn't have any idea what was under the bridge, because everything they did in the dark. And anyway, all of a sudden it was dark and kind of spooky, and all of a sudden the lights went off from the tanks.
Oh, wow.
That came along, and they were shooting across the bridge, and there was no place for me to go, and they did not know that I was on the bridge, and everybody else had a place to hide but me.
Wow, you're just completely exposed.
Yeah, that was kind of scary, I must admit to you.
I think so.
Grenades were going over my head, and I could recognize those things, and I really got a taste of what it would be like to be in battle.
For sure.
And it was scared the heck out of me.
You got a taste of what friendly fire feels like.
Well, they hadn't given us any training for any of that.
What time of year was that?
It happened.
What time of the year was that?
That was in Fort Lee. It was in Virginia.
What season was that?
What season was it?
I think it was in the fall.
In the fall?
It's a good time to be in Virginia.
Yeah, good time to be in Virginia. That's what I was wondering, because in the summertime it's hotter than heck in Virginia.
Rusty,
it wasn't.
What do you remember?
We had tents. We lived in tents and things like that, and our tent caught on fire.
Oh, boy.
One time.
And
that was at the same time that I had that shock from being up there all by myself.
Uh-huh.
And as I understand it, the captain was in her office under her desk. I didn't have anything to hide under. I didn't know what was under the bridge, and I wasn't about to go down there by myself.
Sounds legit. Captain was hiding.
Lordy, but anyway, they finally got that shut off, but it went on for at least an hour before they got it shut off. But I did, know what the tank sounded like, know what the grenades sounded like, and the machine guns, and holy cow, I was really pretty frightened about it at the time, and the sound was quite hard on my ears, I must say. But I made it through it. But I got the real feeling of being in action,
Yeah. Rusty,
So
what do you remember about your drill instructors?
Oh, I enjoyed that. But I taught the women, basic training like the marching, and I loved to do all that.
But
the music when they would have it every Saturday, we'd have to get up and march around.
I'm assuming.
But I enjoyed doing that.
You had male drill sergeants, is that right?
No, I was it.
Well, no, for your drill sergeants, I'm guessing they were male, or were they female drill sergeants?
They were all female. The one you mean when I was in basic?
When you were in basic.
Then I ended up being one, a drill sergeant.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Now, that's a story I think I have heard before. Tell us about that experience, Rusty.
Well, I went to leadership school, and I did that for a couple of months, and then I graduated from there, and I was kind of hopeful maybe I'd get some, kind of a fine little job of some kind,
mm-hmm.
but that didn't happen. And then after I left there, that's when I went to Fort Sheridan. And then I went to Camp McCoy, Wisconsin. And then that's when I ran into my basic training officer,
mm-hmm.
and she got me into the recruiting duty. And nobody ever mentioned that to me before. But that was okay too. So
tell us a little bit.
But I was only in 2 years, but I was in.
You did a lot in 2 years.
Houston, Texas. What?
I said you did a lot in 2 years.
Well, I traveled a lot.
Yeah, you did.
I got to see places I had never been before, like that Wisconsin, and I was there. There were 25,000 men and 25 WACs, I think it was.
Well, that kind of leads to
we had guards over us all the time when we were there.
That leads to my next question, Rusty. So you came in, I think, at a really interesting time. 1950, less than a decade is how long the Women Army Corps had even been in existence. So did you get a sense that some of the pieces were still being worked out, some of the pieces were still being put together?
Oh my, yes.
How'd that play out? Was it confusing at times?
They kept saying, we're going to do this and we're going to do that,
mm-hmm.
and all the promises that they tried to make come true. But
did you feel like you were treated fairly?
Oh, yeah.
Well, good. Okay, well, I'm happy to hear that.
None of it was magnificent, but I felt I was treated fair. I was always the first one to volunteer to get something done that nobody else wanted to do. I would do it.
Well, I'm not surprised by that, that you were so gung-ho. But also, I think evidence of your constant volunteering and you wanting to be there on the front line, evidence of that is the fact that you entered as an E1 private and you ended as a corporal. In 2 years, that's pretty quick progression for that time.
Very quick.
I was actually always titled Sarge because they gave me it's a temporary assignment, being a sergeant and all that in basic training. But I really enjoyed training the women. I had do the exercises in the morning and getting up at 4:00 in the morning and getting dressed, and you have to run out in the front yard and go through a bunch of jazz, and I enjoyed that.
So I'm hearing you say you enjoyed it. I'm hearing you say all these things that you loved about being a WAC. So not to put you on the spot, but tell us about the decision to get out in November of 52.
Well, Eddie and I got married, and about a month later I was pregnant.
Okay.
And I went to get out of the Army. At that, I was still serving in on the Collinsville Avenue. That's where it was,
Okay.
in East St. Louis.
Yeah.
And that's where my recruiting station was. And it was right over the bar. I can't think of the name of that. But anyway, that's what I was assigned to there.
Yeah.
And I really, I didn't enjoy that too much, but I did squire people around. And
but you were pregnant.
I did talk on the radio in East St. Louis. They had a guy, a disc jockey, and his name was Spider Webb. And he interviewed me on the radio.
Spider Webb, nice.
It's a very unusual name, but whatever. But the doctor and a doctor that I told you that I was with, Dr.
MacArthur's doctor,
General MacArthur's doctor. Yeah. And we went down to the radio station and we were interviewed by Spider Webb.
Now, when did that happen?
We got to go
Is
to
that
lunch
when you were?
After that. What's that?
Were you still in the service when you were interviewed by that disc jockey?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what kind of questions did he ask?
Oh, he just wanted to. He had never heard of women in the Army, and so we just answered. I answered questions like that, and the doctor was behind me because he was all for it.
Sure.
The women in the Army.
Wow, so you were kind of a spokesperson, informal spokesperson at that time.
Oh yes, I did that too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And as a matter of fact, I'm doing that now. Last fall, I went to the junior high here and talked to the kids.
Mm-hmm. Was that for Veterans Day?
American Legion asked me to do that.
Yeah.
And they've just asked me to do it again this year and tell the kids, what it was kind of like.
Mm-hmm. Well, not
to all written out.
I want to make sure we get to the end of that story you had mentioned. So were you pregnant with Cindy? Is that kind of what went into your decision to get out?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
See, I was only in 2 years.
Yeah.
And I got all that traveling and everything else done about the first year.
Great experiences.
Then I was in East St. Louis, and Eddie and I were living up on the hill, I think, at the time. And I went to get out of the service and went up to Chicago to Pier 16, I think, or something.
Okay.
And
that's where you had the discharge from?
I didn't know.
Why did you have to go to Chicago?
I got there, and and they sent me to Denver to a hospital there.
Oh my gosh!
They told me that I had tuberculosis, but I was in that darn hospital for about 6 months, and carrying Cindy.
Yeah,
I kept telling them they had the wrong person because all of my tests were negative.
Yeah.
But they kept saying it was because I was pregnant.
So essentially, they dragged your contract out.
Well, my dad went to the United States Senate, and Eddie went to the general that ran the base in Denver, and they finally got me out around Thanksgiving.
Wow.
2 years later.
Oh my gosh.
So I was discharged in the same year that I. Not in the same year, but in the same month.
Sure.
That I actually got into the service because I went in November.
Yeah, November
of 1950.
Yeah.
And I got out in November of 1952. And when I got out, then the doctor said, "You never had that. There was no way you had that.
Never had tuberculosis."
They looked at the X-rays and they just said they mistook something.
Strange.
And that was that. But I was there in that hospital bed taking all those pills.
6 months.
My roommate was a real live tuberculosis patient, and she was a very nice lady. But they kept me right there. They made a horrendous mistake. And
well,
you think they said, "I'm sorry"? Never did that happen.
No, of course not.
But anyway, that was a very unpleasant period of time for me.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about more positive things then. So, my wonderful cousin Sydney is born. You and Eddie eventually moved to Carmel, Indiana.
No, I've never lived in Carmel. Cindy lived in Carmel.
Oh, that's right. Cindy did.
Eddie and I moved to Indianapolis.
Gotcha. Indianapolis proper.
But that was after Cindy was about 2 years old, 18 months to 2 years old. And we lived there for 60 years.
So take us through a typical day post-Army service. What did you keep with you that you learned as a WAC? What kinds of things did you take away?
As I said, in November, and then I had Cindy in February.
Mm-hmm.
And the little duties of being the mother, that's what I did. I ran the household, and Eddie was going to work. He was an engineer. And so we stayed there for maybe, Cindy was 18 months, I think, when we moved to Indianapolis. And we stayed there. He worked for a company there. Then he started his own company because that company had moved to California, and I didn't want to move back to California particularly. And then Eddie got very involved in flying. And so we were always with the flyers.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a great time with those organizations. That there were several of them.
So speaking of, this is a perfect segue. You're doing my job for me here, Rusty. Speaking of flying, tell Jason and me and our audience about the honor flight that you were part of. Oh,
that was a very nice trip, and I highly recommend it to anyone that wasn't in the service at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But they took us to
the monuments and memorials,
World War II monument, the Korean War monument, and all of that. And it was just, it was really wonderful. It brought tears to the eyes because some of the guys were quite hurt, and they were still, in that condition.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really something to see. And under the circumstances, it was really something to see because some of them were from Vietnam,
mm-hmm.
and some of them were from, it was only about 3 years ago that I went. That was in March that we went, about 3 years ago. And then they had grade school kids on a class trip,
uh-huh.
and they would stand there and clap for us. In the airports, people would stand and clap. Really, they were very supportive of us, and the kids were so cute.
I would be remiss, and this has nothing to do with military, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask for you to give us a quick synopsis of your relationship with Barry Manilow.
I bought a ticket to go. I think the ticket cost $1,700, and I had been told I was, not going to live long. I had a heart problem, and Wayne and Cindy said, "Oh, go ahead and do it." So we went to Vegas to see Barry. Wayne always made the reservations for it. And I saw him about 6 times. But anyway, when I first went in to see him, it was in Vegas.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Well, why are you here?" And I meant to say, "Why do you think?" But anyway, and I had told him that I had just gotten out of the hospital. They put 7 stents in my arteries.
Yeah.
And then we got to talking about that. And so he came over and gave me a big hug and a kiss, and we had champagne.
That's great.
And so that was very interesting.
Yeah, I bet.
And then I had a very special seat out in front, and we saw that. The concert was over, and then I went to go outside, and there were all these people standing in line, and they were hugging me and kissing me, and they said, "Gee, we're so glad to see you." And I said, "Me? Who do you think I am?" And they said, "Debbie Reynolds."
That's great.
And I said, "I like Debbie too, but no, honey, I am just Rusty Marlen from Indianapolis."
That's great. Well,
but they were all wanting to, kiss me and hug me and
yeah.
whatever. It was amazing. And I thought, boy, they're very friendly here.
Yeah.
And then something I thought was something wrong, And that's when I asked him, and who do you think I am?
Yeah. You should have just rolled with it.
I
Sign some autographs, enjoy
I
it.
should have. Yeah, that would have been funny too. But anyway, it was a very lovely thing to do.
Well, here, Rusty, I want to remind everybody as we begin to close here. So your late husband, Uncle Eddie Grover Marlen, a fantastic guy. He was an aviation machinist mate, 3rd class in the Navy Reserve, 44 to 46. And Rusty Marlen, November 1950, November 1952, you exited as a corporal. You had started as an E1, and you were in the Women's Army Corps.
Yes.
As we close here, Rusty, and it's always
wait a minute.
What?
Hold on. He's asking me questions, Cindy. I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Or Cindy just.
Oh, that's okay. Well, tell her she's got to send me those photos. Well, hey, Rusty, as we're preparing to close, I want to give Jason. I want to give you the opportunity to tell our audience what it meant to you to serve your country.
I love my country. I hate some of the stuff that has gone on, but our country is. I tell the kids when I see them, don't let anyone tell you that this isn't a great country. So when I see them, I go to the classrooms and I try to cheer them up, about America, the elementary school and the junior high.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so
but tell us also. I want to end with this, Rusty. Tell us what it meant to serve your country as a WAC in the Women's Army Corps. What did that mean to you?
It meant a lot to me. I got to travel all over the United States, it seemed to me, and I enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed all the stuff that I had to do, get down on my hands and knees and scrub the floors. And, we had to clean up and do all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Then I got into cadre, and I had to be in charge of some of these girls, and they'd had no discipline at all. And it was very interesting because I was raised in the Catholic school, and I went there for 12 years. So, but it was an interesting. I was very proud of the fact that I was able to get in there and do what I did. Yeah. I think that I tried to help the country.
And we're grateful that you did that.
Days, I beg your pardon?
I said, and we are very grateful that you did.
Well, it was a whole different ball game because it wasn't the big thing that the girls did in those days,
Mm-hmm.
So I just was very proud that I was able to do it and that I had the guts to do it mostly.
Well, Rusty, I can confirm for you as your relative, I'm very proud of you. As an American,
thank you.
As an American, I'm very proud of you. I feel very fortunate to be able to call you family. So thanks for your time, Rusty. It's always a joy to speak to you. I hope that I'm able to see you guys again sometime soon. You're out there in Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale. Is that right, specifically?
It's near Cave Creek. It's where the actual place I am.
Okay.
But it's right by Scottsdale, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rusty, thanks again. Love you very much. Really appreciate you taking the time.
I love you too.
And hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get to see you. I felt so good about doing that. And once again, I would like to remind you, we didn't have TV or we didn't have cell phones.
Sure.
We had just those posters that they would post in the stores and the drug stores and everything. And Uncle Sam needs you.
Yeah.
And I thought, by golly, I'm not doing anything exciting because I had just, graduated from high school. So I decided to do that.
Yeah.
So, but I'm very proud of the fact that I did do it. It wasn't an easy thing in those days. And what the girls now are able to do, it's fabulous.
Yeah. And you were a pioneer, and you led the way for millions of women to serve, Rusty. So thank you.
Yeah, well, they certainly, but they just really got the big bad job. But we had a blessing, I guess, in reality.
Well, hey, Jason is going to sign us off here, Rusty. But thanks again,
Okay.
okay? We really appreciate your time and you sharing your story with us and our audience.
Oh, well, thank you, and you take care, and God bless you.
God bless
Thank you, Rusty.
Bye-bye.
We're going to go ahead and sign off of the Operation Insight podcast from the Mid-America Veterans Museum.
Okay. Bye.
Operation Insight is brought to you by the Mid-America Veterans Museum. Do you like our podcast? With your support, we'll continue to bring you great programming. If you'd like to donate, go to mavm.org and click on Donate.